Welcome to Faith to CPA, where we talk about everything CPA exams, CPA studying, accounting, and budgeting. And this is where I give it to you raw, real, letting you know what's really going on. So I just got a new job in the midst of COVID. So with that played a huge role on my CPA studying. I'm trying to aim to get my CPA license this year. Starting a new job was great. Everything about the new job is great, but what I had to do is adjust my schedule. As a CPA candidate, don't feel bad, don't feel pressured if you have to adjust your schedule. If you have to move your date back, if you have to pay the extra fee to go ahead and reschedule. It's better to pay the fee to reschedule than it is to pay for the exam all over again. So what I had to do, I was supposed to sit for my exam coming up the end of this month, August 28th. Due to having a new job, having to learn new material, new systems, I began to feel overwhelmed and I went over my study schedule and I wasn't able to keep up. I was trying to adjust it, but it just didn't work. So now I have moved my exam back to October, where I feel like I am able to keep up with my study schedule. I'm able to study. I don't feel stressed. I'm able to do month-end close at work, reconciliations, different projects, learn the new system, and stay on top of everything. The study material in the section that I am starting with is regulation. So I'm using Becker. I have the Becker book, as well as the Becker final review, as well as the note cards. What I do is I use the Becker system and I go ahead and I set up a study schedule. What you do is you put into the system when you're going to start your exam, when your exam is going to be, how many hours you plan on studying, and Becker comes up with a schedule. So the way my schedule is set up right now, what I'm currently doing is I am doing one section which composes of maybe like 8 chapters a week. And then I'm reviewing and I have my notes as well as I have the note cards. This schedule works for me working full time and trying to adjust to a new company, a new corporation. With the Becker, what I love the most about it, because I have tried Becker as well as I have tried Roger, so I can talk to you about both. What I love most about Becker is that with each chapter in the lesson, it goes over what you need to be studying. It gives highlights, and then it also gives questions at the end. What I have found that works for me is studying in the morning. What I always tell people when it comes to CPA studying is pick what works best for you. At 5 o'clock, my brain is off. After I have worked all day, I'm not trying to do anything that involves accounting. So what I recommend for me, what works best for me, is early in the morning studying. So I'll find myself getting up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I sit at my desk and I begin studying. I take one day where I'm actually listening to the lectures and I'm taking the notes that they give. The next day, that evening when I get off work, I am reviewing the notes that I've taken and I am studying, rereading the chapter, and I'm studying the chapter and taking my own notes. I find it to be helpful to make the notes as personal as possible. So just say for the regulation chapter, for instance, where it says filing statuses, married filing joint, and it talks about what qualifies you as being married filing joint. So married filing joint is, for instance, you were married at the end of the year, December 31st of 2020. You were not divorced during the year, and if one spouse dies during the year, you're still able to file a joint return. So in my notes, I highlighted everything that was important about knowing who is married filing joint. And then as an example, I say, hey, my best friend and her husband, they are considered married filing joint. So what I have found with studying is making everything as personal as possible so I am able to remember it. The next thing I would say is study how you're going to take the exam. Some people like to study and listen to music. That does not work for me, because when I go to take the CPA exam, I'm not able to play music. You are in this quiet room, completely quiet, with other individuals taking exams. Everybody that's in the testing center is not taking a CPA exam. You are in there with lawyers, nurses, doctors, real estate agents. You are in there with people that are trying to take tests for professional licenses. So it is very quiet. So you need to study in the same test environment that you will be taking the test in, and as quiet as possible. That's what works best for me. I use noise canceling headphones when I'm studying so that I'm able to focus. Next, some people take pages upon pages upon pages of notes. If that works for you, if that's how you learn, that's perfectly fine. That does not work for me, because I have worked all day, I'm taking notes, I'm writing different things for work, and I'm getting tired from writing. My hand might cramp up. What works for me is typing my notes. I'm able to type my notes. I type long notes. I'm putting them as detailed as possible. I'm printing them off. I'm writing extra notes. I also, as you can see, I love to write in my book. I take notes in my book, because 9 out of 10 times I'm carrying my book, I'm reviewing in my book, I'm looking in my book, I'm seeing what changes and reviewing the highlights and everything in my book. Next, I would say, don't overstudy. Do not schedule to sit for 6 hours at one time. Your brain, after a while, does not even comprehend all the information that you're giving it. What I normally do is I might set a goal. I might say, okay, I'm gonna get halfway through this chapter, and I'm gonna take maybe like a 10-minute break, listen to like some music, or I might go get a snack, or I might drink some water, or I might just walk around, look at something, surf Instagram, something like that. Give yourself breaks in between. I would say maybe after every 2 hours, take a break. Do not sit there and just overload yourself in studying. You will not retain the information. Next, I would say get a support system. There are tons of groups out here. There's groups on Facebook. There's groups on YouTube. There's groups on Instagram of people that are studying for their CPA. I would say the community that I have is very supportive. I am able to vent. I am able to talk about like how hard it is. I am able to get encouraged from people who are passing their CPA, have passed their CPA exam, people that are struggling. I see other people that are up, they're studying, they're going after it, and it's encouraging. I'm able to share study tips. People are able to share study tips with me. I'm able to post questions like, hey, I'm really struggling with QBI. Can somebody explain to me what is going on? So make sure you get a community. Also, I would say let your family and friends know about your studying, your goal, how serious it is, how important it is for you to achieve this goal. So I have let my family, my friends know. They constantly check up on me. They don't understand the information, and that's something that you have to understand as well. Everybody doesn't understand the goal that you might want to achieve, but they want to be supportive. So my friends, they might say, hey, did you study today? Like, how many chapters did you do? Or I have a friend that's always like, hey, did you do multiple choice today? Like, what do they look like? Show me, like, pull up your Becker software and let me see what were they like. I have a sister, she always flips through note cards with me, flashcards, asking me questions like, no, that wasn't as detailed. You need to know all the details about this. She'll put them in separate piles, like, this is what you got right, this is what you got wrong. So make sure you're communicating your goal as well. And becoming a CPA is difficult. Some people, they pass on the first try, some people don't, but never give up. Keep in mind the goal that you have. Something also that I do that is very encouraging for me is I always put an encouraging quote before each section, and it's just something I do that helps me. So for the first section, which is regulation, as you can see, individual income tax part 1, I said the only way you see results is if you stay consistent. So that helps me to know, like, while I'm going through this section, that I need to stay consistent. So it's always up to you and what helps you learn best. And there's tests out there where you're able, quizzes online where you're able to see what kind of learner you are. I am more of a doer. So doing multiple choice over and over and over again, flipping through flashcards, listening to the lectures while I'm just sitting, listening to the lectures while I'm cooking or out working out or anything like that. So those are some of the tips that I have for you in order to be the best CPA candidate, how to go about studying. And like always, this is just my opinion. Feel free to research and figure out what works best for you. But yes, I am using Becker, and I really like Becker. Like I stated, I did use Roger. I like that one as well. That one goes into more of mnemonics, if you're like a mnemonic person. But I like Becker because it goes more into detail. I graduated with my master's degree back in 2016. So it's been a while. Even working in the corporate world, there's a lot of things. You don't touch every area of accounting. So there's a lot of things in a lot of areas that I was rusty in. So what Becker does is it breaks it down so that I can gain that basic understanding, that background of it, and I can build on top of it. With the Becker review, it's a smaller book in comparison to the book itself. So it touches on the key concept, the things that you need to focus on when the exam comes. I'm not up to this yet. I'm still going through the information. The tabs that you see on my book, so the orange ones are for each chapter, the green ones are for where the questions are, and the pink ones are for areas that I struggled in, areas that I don't understand or I might need to review and go over more. Well, thank you so much for watching my channel, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like it and subscribe to my channel. Faith to CPA with Kenya.